What's going on, beautiful people of YouTube? It's Renebean. Welcome to another episode of Live Hunting, and it's truly been another amazing week, as you're going to see in this video. I'll say like I always do, if you haven't already, check out that Discord server I started up. It's crazy how many people we got there and how many people keep showing up. It's an awesome retro community. If you had questions on buying and selling, hell, if you just want to show off the pickups that you get or show off your game room, or reach out and talk to people in the community, you can even reach out and talk to me there. I'll leave a link to it in the description as well as a pinned comment, but without further ado, guys, I know what y'all came here to see. I want to see these finds. Sit back and relax. Let's shuckle up. Hi guys, welcome back to another episode, and like always, make sure you leave a comment. Let me know what you have found out there here lately. I love reading through the comments and just hearing about all the discoveries you guys get out there. So this first pickup right here is through Facebook, and the main reason that I got this, that no one else really got to it first, was it was just a poor title, it was a poor picture, it was a poor description. Well, not necessarily description. Description gave it away, but you know, a lot of people won't really read through that. But on this picture, I really should have saved the picture. I need to start doing that whenever I see these listings, so I can give you an idea what these things look like. But all the title said was Nintendo DS and 4 games for $50. And when you see this, it's going to be the Nintendo 3DS Galaxy, which is the new Nintendo DS. So obviously the title could have been a lot better. And you know, for $50, that's already a phenomenal deal. But as you can see here, it's got the very awesome, I'm so happy to add this to my collection, Zelda case. And what I mean by how, you know, I was, able to get this listing was up for like 2 hours before I actually saw it and then messaged the person. But in the actual picture, it just showed this case. It didn't show the DS or anything. And all it said was Nintendo DS and 4 games. A lot of people will look at that quickly and they just make the assumption that it's probably an older DS. And what I did, obviously I'm looking through the actual listing itself, and then I see that it was the Galaxy, and it was 4 amazing games. I was like, oh, this is a phenomenal deal for $50. Messaged her right away, and she was able to meet up. And if you didn't see right there, it had some amazing games with it. It had Yoshi's Woolly World, had Kirby game. If you look inside right here, we got Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D, which completely blew my mind, the fact that I actually didn't have this. A lot of people know I'm a huge Zelda fan, and to be missing one in the series just completely shocked me. But again, I'm very happy to add both that case and that one game to my collection. So $50 for this pickup is an amazing deal. But the one thing that you need to learn from this pickup is, if you ever see a listing, make sure you look at it. Make sure you look through the description, the pictures, look through it all, because a lot of times it can be very deceiving and you can come out quite a bit ahead simply by looking at it rather than overlooking a listing that you think is a dud. Alright, so this next pickup right here is again through Facebook, and this is just another fantastic deal right here. Everything you're going to see in this box, I paid $40 for. Now, I was quite worried when I got this lot, or before I got this lot, because I honestly didn't know if I was ever going to meet this person. We kind of kept BSing back and forth, but finally, here we are meeting up. Now, obviously, it's going to be the games that make this lot what it is, and the fact that it had some really nice original Xbox games in there really made this lot very nice. As you saw before, it was just an Xbox 360. It did not have a hard drive, but it came with the Kinect and the controllers on all the hookups. I have no trouble selling 360s online. They do not bother me at all. Even without the hard drive, I can still get somewhere between $50 and $70 for them, and people are paying shipping on top of that. So don't be scared to pick up a 360. Just make sure you test that thing and make sure it's actually working. What's really nice about this lot is these games are very laudable, if that makes sense. Like, I can put all the Fallouts together, I can put all the Grand Theft Autos together, rather than selling these things on an individual level, which you're, most likely not going to get that much for them. Lotting them up, you can benefit a lot more from that. And like I said earlier, it's the original Xbox games in here that really make this lot shine. And as you see, I go ahead and hand them the money. I had no trouble with this lot, after I looked at it. But this game in particular, Conker's Live and Reloaded, the remake for the original Xbox, which is now backwards compatible on the Xbox One. This game right here, extremely sought after, an amazing game too, and it plays phenomenally. I prefer it over the N64 version. Not saying the 64 version is bad, it's just dated. This is a far more up-to-date version. Sure, some of the cutscenes and some of the cussing is not in it like it used to be, but this is still my preferred way of playing it, and the game sells for quite a bit. So, like, again, $40 for this whole lot conquers, almost pays for this whole lot itself. So the trick with this lot, what I'm going to do with it, obviously I'm going to pick out all the very nice games, Star Wars Battlefront 2, Conkers, a handful of others. Oh, it looks like I'm selling stuff while I'm trying to edit. But I will take everything out, and then I will sell that stuff individually, and then I'll lot everything up together. I'll make a very beautiful 360 lot, and who knows what I'll get for it. But it was a great lot, ended on a handshake, and I was very happy to pick it up. Alright, so this next pickup is interesting. I wanted to show this because I see this sort of thing all the time at yard sales and flea markets. You'll come across a random bin or bucket, and it'll just say, grab, 4 items for $1, or whatever the case may be. This one was kind of interesting for the fact that it said 2 for $0.25, so anything in this bucket I'm picking up for, 2 for 25 cents. Nothing crazy in this lot, but there's a few things that I can resell and a few things that I can add to the collection. Really cool little Power Rangers figure, and then I come across this really interesting Nintendo DS promotional pin, which I thought was very nice. But don't ignore these bins. I see them all the time, and you'd be surprised what you can find in them sometimes. But I'll tell you the best part of this pickup, and you don't see it right here because I didn't get this on footage. You'll see it at the very end of the video when I do the quick recap of, everything I picked up like I usually do. But on the table to the right of this was this very awesome Power Rangers sword. I paid 50 cents for it. The thing's like 18 inches long. It's battery operated, vintage 90s. The thing is very nice. 50 cents for it. Turns out the thing's like $50. But that's how it goes yard selling. I had no idea it was going to be worth that much. I picked it up because I thought it was cool, and it turns out it was a very awesome pickup. So don't ignore little things like this. You'd, again, be surprised on exactly what you can find. Now, I wanted to throw this in there because, as some of y'all know, I'm, every now and then I like to throw some footage in there, just other things that I pick up, because, obviously I just don't sell video games. There'd be no way I can make a living if that was the case. Right now I'm picking up glassware. Glassware is very risky when it comes to resale, for 2 reasons. Either, number 1, it's not worth a damn thing, and 2, it's a pain in the ass to ship. This table right here had some very interesting glassware, some very nice pieces, and it had the biggest factor going with it, and that's the fact that it was cheap. This stuff is worth it to pick up. Now, the main reason that I really want to show you guys, the other things that I pick up, because I really love hearing the comments that say, man, your videos help me build up my game room or build up my collection or make a little, make some extra money on the side. Just imagine how far you would go if you knew other things to pick up, if you knew all the things to pick up. Video games to me is about, I don't know, maybe like, a fifth of my inventory. I pick up far more than that. I just don't show you guys everything. But something like this, something that's usually ignored, is something that may help you in the future. Now, the biggest thing to realize when it comes to glassware is subject matter is one of the most important things. That, date and time, and condition. And of course, it has to be cheap. Don't go out spending $3 or $4 on a cup thinking you're going to get 50 for it. Now, mind you, I have sold coffee mugs for $40 and $50, but it's all about which ones I'm picking up and why. But as you can see here, we just got some really nice vintage cups. These 2 Oreo mugs in the back, those are really nice. They were 25 cents each or 50 cents each. Those will be great as a pair. Anytime I sell a mug or a coffee cup like this, I always charge shipping on top of that, and I package these things well, as long as they're covering shipping. And if you're making $10, $15 per, and you're probably watching this video like, you're crazy, you can't sell this stuff for that much, you would be absolutely shocked. A lot of people ignore glassware, and they have good reason to. It's a pain in the ass to ship, and they usually pick up stuff that's duds. But as long as you remember, subject matter is key. It's got to be very interesting. One of the glasses that I picked up had a bunch of mixed drinks on there. That was the most expensive one. I think it was like $1 or $2. But I guarantee I can get 15 for that thing. It was just very interesting. One of these really nice vintage Coca-Cola mugs or Pepsi mugs. Here, I couldn't even see it in the video right here. But don't ignore this stuff, but don't go out spending a lot of crazy stuff. If you're at Goodwill or a thrift store and you just see something very interesting, for $0.25, pick it up and try it out. It may sit for a while in your inventory, but you'll start catching on to what sells and what doesn't. You'll start to be able to look out for brands and specific glasswares that are going to fetch you a whole lot more money. But be on the lookout for it, and don't be scared to get your toes wet with something like this. Alright, so this next pickup here is at a yard sale. And this was like at the end of the day. I'm ready to go home. You know, it's that late in the day. It's like 12, 1 o'clock. You know, the truck's full of a bunch of other stuff. But I see a freestyle, I gotta stop. You never want to skip a sale. You skip a sale is going to be the one time you miss out on some phenomenal stuff. And as you can see, as I pull up here, it's just stacks and stacks and stacks of video games. That's what we like to see as hunters. I mean, as you can see, it's 360 and PS3, some controllers and some random things. But this is good stuff. Don't ever ignore it, man. Dive right in, go head first, and you're going to be surprised what you come out with. Now, the downside with this pickup right here, again, like I said, since this is late in the day, and he's got all these video games, he's got some very nice titles in here. Why the hell are they sitting? This guy wanted $5 a piece for these games, but I had the benefit of being probably like one of his last customers, and he was not going to give me no $5 deal. It's hard to pay $5 for a modern game from you. 360, PS3, you know, this late in the game on them, I like to pay $2 or $3 tops for them. There's a handful of games I want to be able to add to my collection in this, but the price has to be right. Now, looking back on this footage, there's probably a few more games that I probably should have gotten, but I do end up getting, I want to say, 6 or so with a controller, and I paid $20 for the lot. Let me go ahead and zoom over here to those pickups. And here we are. You can see that I went through, because like again, I'm not scared to dive right in. I'm gonna look through all this stuff if I can. Plus, a handful of games weren't in their actual cases. Check your controllers, make sure there's no corrosion. He had one in here for $5, and the joystick was really nice. 360 controllers can sell decently, but you got to make sure the rubber is not missing on the joystick. I probably should have got that controller right there. I didn't know about it. Looking back on it now, it probably wouldn't have been a bad pickup considering everything else I got with the bundle deal. So looking over here, you can see some of these games that I'm picking up, and we got some really solid titles right here. These are some, you know, I'm not necessarily going to say high-end games. It's hard to say high-end with 360 and PS3, but some good flip items, some good games that I need for my collection. So very happy to pick it. Like I said earlier, there's probably some games in there that I should have gotten, but not knowing where this deal was going to end up, thinking that he wanted $5 a piece for all this, I just didn't know. And again, it was at the end of the day, so I was just all like, you know, I'll take this lot, I'll roll out, leave the rest for whoever if someone pulls up. So for that controller and then the 5 or 6 games that you see right here, $20, this was a really good pickup. It was a nice end to that day for yard selling. Alright, so this next pickup right here is to the eyes of Miss Renebean. I believe this was a Facebook post that he had, maybe for 50, 60 bucks. Sent him an offer for 40, and he took it. As you're going to see, we got a Retron 3 console, which, believe it or not, Retrons still sell decently. If you can find a Retron 5, obviously, those are going to sell like hotcakes. But some of the older Retrons still sell because they're a lot more simplistic to use than your original hardware. A lot of people who, you know, don't necessarily collect but want to get into retro gaming like they used to, it's a good option for them. I believe I sold that same Retron right there for $60 or $70 bundled with a copy of Mario Brothers and Sonic 2. You know, just basic bundler games. So they're definitely worth it. As you're going to see, the 4 games with it definitely made this slot extremely worth it in my opinion. The only downside with the slot, I'd say, is 2 of those controllers didn't work properly, so I did have to bundle them up with some officials, but they again, I picked those up dirt cheap anyways. So to pick this up, the Retron itself with the 4 games, you got Super Mario 2 and 3. There's a copy of Zombies Ate My Neighbors in there for the Super Nintendo, and a copy of Aladdin for $40. It's a no-brainer. We can't always quadruple our money, but hey, as long as we're making money, that's the name of the game. So if you see these Retrons out in the wild, which I do often, you know, I'll see a lot of parents who wanted to relive their childhood for a few months, and they'll get something like this in a few games. Don't just pick up the games. If they have the console and you can get it pretty cheap, they still sell for quite a bit, and do not ignore them. But anyways, guys, that's it. That's all I got for this episode. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it, and I hope to see a lot of new faces on that Discord server. Remember, I'll leave a link to it in the description as well as a pinned comment. Come by and say hello. But as always, everybody out there in this wonderful world, take care and enjoy the rest of your day.